All right, everyone. Next up, we have another special talk for you. These are hidden stories in your employee data. Our session partner is Tydy, and we have with us Kiran Menon, who's the CEO and co-founder of Tydy, a global leader in virtual and automated employee onboarding and experience management. Under his leadership, Tydy has transformed the employee onboarding process for leading brands like Unilever, Bev, EXL, and Airtel, to name a few. Welcome, Kiran. Great to have you here with us. Over to you.
Thank you, Nia. Thank you so much for the opportunity. And yeah, I think as Nia mentioned, I'll be kind of taking you over the next 20 minutes or so on some of the stories that we have seen working with some of the largest enterprises on how data has been harnessed and how it has powered a much more personalized experience globally, and also, improving the employee experience as a whole. So I'm going to be going through a few slides just to kind of help me with some of these stories. And very often these stories are pretty much hidden within the organization, right? And the reason I say that is because in every enterprise, there is a tremendous amount of data that's available, which is unfortunately not harnessed. There is a huge amount of employee data that organizations could potentially kind of use in order to deliver a much higher level of experience and a much more personalized experience as well. At scale, I'm talking about, even when you have 100,000 people globally, data really can help you create that experience. And fundamentally, which also brings me to that next point, which is if you really think about the employee experience, the reason it's broken today, and a lot of us have the question on, what will make a better employee experience, my answer always is it's not an HR problem. Employee experience is broken, but it's not an HR problem. Very often, and this might sound like an oxymoron, but very often when you think about employee experience, you're thinking only about the HR team and what they have to do in order to build and deliver the best experience for every single employee, make sure they're productive, make sure they, have everything they need to make sure that they are delivering at the highest level. But it's not an HR problem. There are multiple reasons why this is not just an HR problem. If you look at your traditional enterprise, you have a lot of different systems. You have HR systems, IT systems, financial systems, sales, marketing, whatever it may be. And there are a lot of these problems that arise because of it, because a lot of it is disconnected and fragmented. And so in the digital transformation world, siloed data is a favorite term, and fragmentation is another favorite term, and it's unfortunately also a reality, because most of our organizations are built on various systems that have been kind of implemented on its own as standalone. And if you think about the employee experience, I need the HRMS for my time, attendance, core HR processes. I need, the financial system to deliver a good payroll experience, expense management experience, taxation, compliance. I need the IT systems to deliver a great experience from the software that I should get access to when I'm onboarding. I need access to a system at the right time so that I can be productive as soon as possible. And so all of these systems are actually responsible for delivering that employee experience. Now, if you think about what I said earlier, it's not an HR problem, because actually there are so many different actors within the whole ecosystem of the employee experience. There are so many people involved, so many teams, so many systems involved. And fundamentally, as a CHRO, it becomes imperative for you to kind of look down from above and see how you could connect all of it in order to make sure that everything is running the way it should and is delivering the best experience for each employee. So I'm going to take you through some examples of how we have seen this happen across enterprises globally that we work with, and some of the stories that we see real practical on the ground examples of how data has helped deliver a much more personalized experience, right? And the reason we're kind of able to do that is because as a vendor, as a partner to a lot of the enterprises, we are actually looking at how we could use employee data to build better relationships between you and your employees. And believe me, there are a ton of different ways in which that data could be used in order to build the best experience, right? So let's kind of move into our story one, which is personalization. I think given the last session, I heard the most of it, and there was a conversation around personalization. And personalization really holds the key to a great experience. If you think about your experience with consumer services, whether it is your food ordering app to your e-commerce app, they're using a lot of data to personalize the entire experience for you. Who I mean, what do you want to buy? What would you actually want from a lunch perspective? Your delivery company actually knows what you would want to probably order for lunch today and what you would want to probably order for dinner tonight as well. Your e-commerce company knows and will tell you, hey, by the way, you bought this. Here are 3 other things that we might think you will be interested in. Yes, that results in additional sales for them, but that is the level of personalization that consumer services have taken it to. Now, we work with Unilever globally, and we have been able to deliver a very similar service to Unilever and their employees across the globe with the use of data. So when someone is joining Unilever India, someone is joining Unilever in Malaysia, in Philippines, in Australia, wherever it may be, what happens is it is really easy for a system to pick up data like location data. Which office am I joining? What role am I joining? Which department am I joining? What's the hierarchy of the work level that I'm joining at? And then start curating really personalized journeys for me. Hey, I'm joining the sales team in in the Singapore office. Therefore, your onboarding should happen in a very, very different path than maybe someone else who's joining the product team or the marketing team, right? And fundamentally, today, there is technology that allows you to do this and will give you the opportunity to kind of provide that personalized experience across the globe at any level. And it has real meaningful results, even from an ROI perspective. So for example, with Unilever, we have a global case study. And with personalization, we were able to reduce first year attrition by 65%, right? And that is a huge opportunity which data has delivered from a personalization perspective for Unilever and its employees globally. If you look at another example, you could potentially see that there is the opportunity for an organization to really deliver an experience based on where the person is joining, even if it's senior executives who are joining the organization. Now, we work with EXL as well globally, and I love this example that was possible where EXL wanted to kind of deliver a bouquet of flowers to employees in 5 days before they start, 2 days before they start. And if you were to think about it, this is a company that's hiring in the thousands, onboarding people in the thousands. It would have become almost impossible to do this without a data engine and a personalization engine. And so that's what we were able to deliver, where when the time comes, just the address and the communication details were sent to a vendor who would then potentially send that bouquet of flowers to the employee 5 days before, right? Anywhere in the globe. And it's impossible to do something like this. It's a moment. It's a beautiful moment between the organization and the employee, but that's the power that data and an orchestration engine kind of brings to the entire experience. It's also something that really makes it easy for organizations to expand from an asset allocation perspective. Now, when COVID hit, this same process was able to reduce the time for asset allocation from day one plus 10 to day one minus 5. 5 days before the start date, everything was ready. There was enough time for the organization to start sending assets to the employees globally as well. Now, that was a huge change. Impossible, again, to do this manually. But the fact that we have the data, it's possible for you to then personalize the entire experience automatically at scale. So Kiran thinks that the organization and feels that the organization is only thinking about him and is really transforming the experience for him, right? That's possible from a data orchestration perspective. Now, couple of stories down, but what I'd love to do is, would love to kind of have our first audience poll. And it would be great to kind of understand where most of you are at from a, perspective of how you use intelligence or employee data to personalize the experience within the organization. Can I have the poll up, please? Okay. Quite a few responses coming in, but I think it's pretty much a majority for the no. And it's interesting because I think there are only a few companies who have started kind of looking at how they could use employee intelligence to personalize the whole experience. So having got this response, and thank you so much for participating in the poll. I'll probably kind of very quickly give you a couple of other anecdotes, right? What we also do is, with a lot of organizations, we use this employee intelligence to not just deliver an experience for the employee, but also for managers. So in the case of companies that we work with, whether it is Genpact or Airtel or EXL and Unilever, it is also possible for you to take that data and deliver just anecdotal information to a manager. Now, imagine this. There's a new hire coming into the organization. 2 days before the start date, there's a quick question that goes out. Hey, is there something that really you would love to know from your manager? Now, using that data, it becomes really easy for managers to prep themselves about what new hires are looking for. Another anecdote is, let's say Kiran's journeys, he's completed his sales journey, he's completed something else, but he gets stuck somewhere in the process. And then this comes up as a data point to the manager saying, hey, maybe you need to help Kiran with, his sales product knowledge. And so it becomes really interesting when data can also start empowering managers. And this happens across, companies that we work with, where HRBPs, where managers, all of them kind of log into the system to see and therefore have contextual conversations with the individual, because we're always used to, an HRBP picking up the phone, calling an employee and saying, hey, how are things going? But with data, that conversation suddenly becomes, hey, Kiran, I realized that you were stuck with this particular course. Is there something that I could help you with? It becomes way more contextual and way more empowering to have a conversation around that, rather than just having very generic, catch-ups. And that's, again, something that data and orchestration can kind of deliver for you. Another example is we work with AB InBev globally, and what we were able to do is AB InBev was going through an acquisition of a team, and we were able to overnight, literally within about 24 to maybe 36 hours, onboard the team of 1,000 people into AB InBev and give them a very, very personalized onboarding, literally overnight. Everything from compliance. So, hey, fill out the forms, Form 11, pay, gratuity, PF, whatever it may be, insurance. All of that was done completely digitally. Now, that data was also taken to then further personalize the entire experience. Kiran, welcome to, AB InBev. This is the way the culture is. You are now part of the analytics team. This is who you need to connect with. You need to connect with Dave, who is the head of analytics, and that should happen tomorrow. Suddenly, that data was used to empower a cultural shift, pretty much, as I said, overnight. And so the power of data also lies in being able to influence behavior within the organization, right? Because then you are again taking contextual conversations with individuals, helping them understand and get up to speed with what they need. And so you actually have the power to now have those cultural changes, cultural conversations, helping build a sense of belonging within the organization because of the context that your team and the workforce at large suddenly have access to. So from that perspective, I think it becomes really important for an organization, and if your organization has not considered how it could use the data that it already has. And when we work with organizations, there are about 250, 300 data points that you have about your employees that you are not using today to power a much more personalized experience. And I think that would be something that I would really kind of press you all to consider. It also results in a much kind of better experience, and at the same time a much better overall process within the organization. I think I'm pretty much out of time over here, but yeah, I'm hoping that I've been able to provide some sort of understanding of real life examples that we kind of see as an organization working with some of the largest enterprises globally.
Absolutely, Kiran. I think I'm very excited. I've been learning about these different digital tools, and for the last 2 days, I feel like, my God, I know so much about technology tools now. I'm hoping our audience is also feeling armed with all of this, information and these tools that they can start utilizing, and they know where to go. Thank you so much for sharing all of those insights with us.